Ever laughed so hard your ribs screamed? Now picture that ache turning into a horror movie loop, because something out in the snow thinks your agony is hilarious. One endless giggle fit, icy claws drumming on your ribs, until your lungs quit and the tundra preserves your last grin. Say hello to the Mahaha, death by tickle, embarrassment included. In the vast frozen wilderness of the Arctic, where the howling winds carve across endless snow and the aurora dances in the night sky, Inuit mythology breathes life into terrifying spirits. Among them is one of the most unsettling figures, a demon-like being known as Mahaha. His weapon is not claws or teeth, but something far more unnerving: laughter. Mahaha is the spirit who tickles his victims to death. Let's head north of nowhere to meet the Inuits' original tickle monster. No axes, no fangs, just fingernails like fish hooks and a punchline you die halfway through. Ready to meet him?
For thousands of years, the Inuit people have survived in one of the most unforgiving landscapes on Earth, the Arctic, where the land itself can kill you faster than any predator. In this frozen silence, they told stories not only to explain the world around them, but to warn of what lurks in the shadows of the snowdrifts. Out of those whispered legends came a figure unlike any other, Mahaha. He is no ordinary spirit. Mahaha isn't fueled by vengeance, greed, or hunger, like the monsters of other cultures. Instead, he kills in a way that makes his victims part of a grotesque joke. Imagine a predator who doesn't strike with claws or fangs, but with fingers, long freezing claw-like fingers that drag across your ribs until your laughter becomes a scream. His cruelty is masked as play, his games ending only when the victim collapses in exhaustion, lungs burning, heart failing, mouth frozen into a final ghastly grin. Some say Mahaha was not always a demon. Folklore claims he was once a selfish hunter who cracked jokes while his starving neighbors froze. The spirits repaid his cruelty by twisting him into a creature cursed to crave laughter forever. Except now the joke always kills. Each victim extends the chain: tickle, collapse, frozen smile. To the Inuit, Mahaha was more than a campfire story. He was a reminder of the land's mercilessness, of how quickly joy can twist into horror. Some say he appears without warning, slipping out of the tundra itself, his emaciated body blending with the snow and ice. Others claim the first sign is his eerie giggle, carried by the Arctic wind, so faint you can't tell if it's in your ears or in your mind. And once you hear it, the legend warns, it's already too late. Mahaha has found you. Descriptions of Mahaha are chilling. He is gaunt and skeletal, his frame stretched thin as though the cold itself has hollowed him out. His skin is an unnatural shade of icy blue, cracked like frozen river ice, and said to be as cold as a corpse left on the tundra. Touching him, it is whispered, burns with frostbite. His hair is long, wild and tangled, whipping in the Arctic wind as though alive, strands of frost clinging to each lock. His eyes are the most unsettling of all, vacant, empty as the endless white horizon, yet piercing enough to strip away courage. And his mouth, it never stops grinning. A jagged, stretched, too-wide smile carved permanently into his face, as though the joke he tells himself is one only he can understand. Then comes the sound, the laugh. Mahaha is always laughing, a high-pitched, breathless, almost playful but threaded with. The laugh rides the wind across the tundra, echoing in valleys of snow, making the lonely traveler wonder, is someone laughing? Or is it just the ice groaning? By the time they realize the truth, the figure is already upon them. Despite his frail, starved frame, he carries supernatural strength, easily overpowering even the strongest hunters. His weapon is not brute force, but his hands, long claw-like fingers that end not in slashes of blood, but in torment. Fingers that drag across skin in a grotesque parody of playfulness. Where he walks, the air grows colder, sharper, biting deeper than the Arctic wind. The snow itself seems to hush, waiting for his punchline. He doesn't just kill, he mocks. He turns the human instinct for joy into the cruelest execution. Legends agree. Mahaha's play is not quick. He drags it out, savoring every gasp, every writhing spasm of helpless laughter, until his victim's body fails under the weight of it. And when it is done, the Arctic wind carries not only his laughter, but the echo of his victim's last breath, forever preserved in a smile, Mahaha doesn't attack crowds nor storm settlements. He waits for the loners, the hunter who strays too far from camp, the traveler who lags behind the sled, the wanderer who dares the tundra at dusk. Alone you are visible, alone you are vulnerable, and Mahaha loves nothing more than fresh, isolated laughter. Here's the kicker. Mahaha isn't some blunt brute. He's patient. He stalks hunters who stray, children who chase loose sled dogs, scientists drilling cores miles from help. He herds you farther from shelter, letting panic do half the work. By the time those claws meet skin, you're already exhausted. Lungs roar from frozen air, the perfect setup for a punchline you can't survive. The first touch is deceptively playful, like icy fingertips brushing across the ribs. But then the claws dig in, not to cut, but to torment. Long, curved, ice-shard sharp. They skate across the nerve clusters under your ribs, your armpits, the soles of your feet. The sensation bypasses humor and rockets straight into panic. Your diaphragm convulses, gasping, then locks tight. You try to scream, but it comes out as ragged laughter. His freezing aura seeps into your skin, numbing even as nerves fire like lightning. You cough, choke, laugh again. Your lungs burning, your chest aching, your body betraying you in the cruelest loop imaginable. The Inuit describe it almost clinically, like an autopsy, death by exhaustion and asphyxiation. Your body burns through its strength, oxygen drains, the heart stutters. All the while, Mahaha's shrill giggle mixes with your own until you no longer know where his laughter ends and yours begins. When the end finally comes, silence falls. The tundra keeps its trophy. Later, others may stumble across the body, frozen stiff, eyes wide, lips peeled back into a grotesque rictus grin. To the unknowing, it looks like death by joy, but the Inuit knew better. That smile wasn't happiness. It was Mahaha's signature carved into death itself. For the Inuit, Mahaha's legend was more than horror. It was a survival guide. Elders warned children, don't wander too far, don't travel alone, respect the land or risk its spirits. Parents passed the legend to children, not only to frighten them, but to keep them close. Stay by the fire. Stay with the sled. Stay where eyes can see you. Because in the Arctic, one misstep can mean death, and sometimes that death comes giggling. Mahaha's story burned this truth into memory. The Arctic shows no mercy, and sometimes its cruelty comes laughing. But even nightmares, they say, have loopholes. Mahaha's brain froze with his heart, and cleverness can outmatch cruelty. Stories whisper that if you lure him to open water, you can bait him into sealing his own fate. Pretend to drink from the river. Bow low and Mahaha, ever mocking, ever copying, will stoop to mimic you. That's your only chance. Shove him forward. Watch the current seize his brittle frame and laugh last as the river swallows his grin. The waters, elders insist, despise Mahaha as much as humankind. Once he falls in, they never let him climb back out. And yet the victory feels thin, because no matter how many stories end with his drowning, his laughter always drifts back on the wind. A reminder that spirits never die. They only wait for another chance, another wanderer, another laugh. Mahaha is more than a monster of fear. He is a mirror of the Arctic itself. His twisted laughter is not just cruelty, but the sound of life teetering on a razor's edge. In the frozen north, where each breath is a battle and every step a gamble against nature's wrath, joy and terror are inseparably bound. Mahaha embodies that contradiction. He is not the fire-breathing beast of warmer lands, but something far colder, far subtler. The reminder that in the Arctic, even play can kill. His skeletal form whispers of hunger. His frost-bitten grin reflects the merciless smile of the land itself. Every time his claws scrape across the flesh of his victims, it is less an act of violence than an echo of reality. The way frost creeps, the way wind scours, the way nature itself laughs as it claims another life. And here's where myth and biology blur. Hypothermia has a grotesque trick of its own. As the body's core temperature plummets, facial muscles sometimes seize into a rictus grin, what rescuers call the hideous smile. Imagine finding a loved one in the snow, lips blue, teeth bared in what looks like a final laugh. For Inuit elders, that sight could only mean one thing. Mahaha had passed by. Death wore his signature. The legend stitched itself over reality like a shroud, turning death into story. and story into a survival warning. And there's another layer, deeper still. Psychologists call tickling a bonding trick, a way parents connect with infants, sparking joy and security with a simple touch. Mahaha weaponizes that instinct, flipping intimacy into assault. What should be laughter's safest form becomes its deadliest. The humiliation lingers even after the body goes still. Imagine rescuers stumbling upon a victim barefoot, shirt rucked up, face frozen in twisted hilarity. There is no dignity in that departure, only the cruel reminder that what once signified love can be turned into mockery by the tundra's cruelest spirit. And isn't that what makes Mahaha timeless? He is the embodiment of how the Arctic writes its truths. He is not just a demon lurking in the white void. He is the cold fact that beauty and brutality coexist in every snowflake. His giggle is a warning wrapped in mockery, a grim metaphor for how joy can be fleeting, how warmth can vanish, how the line between life and death is as fragile as ice beneath your boots. In the end, Mahaha's laughter is the Arctic's voice itself, a reminder that survival is fragile, that beauty and brutality walk hand in hand, and that even joy can be lethal when the land decides it's time. It is the eternal voice of the Arctic itself, a voice that says, survive if you can, but don't expect the land to pity you. In the realm of cinema, music, and art, Mahaha, the Inuit tickle-to-death demon, remains almost invisible, yet his eerie echo surfaces in unexpected corners of pop culture. Indie horror game developers have slipped faint Mahaha-style laughter into snowy levels, the kind of faint giggle that turns a tranquil blizzard into a waking nightmare. On creepypasta forums, storytellers swap tickle monster encounters as dark urban legends, playful at first, but sinister in aftermath. Hollywood, however, sleeps on the legend, perhaps because dying from laughter feels absurd, until you picture those razor-thin icy claws dragging across your ribs. The absurdity becomes the horror when you feel the freeze set in, your own laughter becoming the last battleground. But Mahaha is not unique in his method. Across the globe, myths twist laughter and death into one. In the Philippines, the Amalanhig are undead aswang, monstrous revenants who sometimes tickle victims to death when they catch them, mixing terror with grotesque playfulness. Slavic folklore offers another disturbing cousin, the Leshi, a forest spirit who mimics familiar voices and lures wanderers into the woods. Some tales even suggest tickling them into oblivion. These creatures echo Mahaha's blending of familiar comfort with lethal betrayal, play-turned-weapon. Within Inuit mythology itself, Mahaha stands among other chilling spirits, like Idlir Virisong, a clown-like being who awaits the recently deceased in the sky. Laughter at her dance can seal your fate. Those who mock are said to have their bodies grotesquely dissected and fed to her dogs. And unlike the protective or communal spirits of the north, Mahaha roams alone, his sole joy the terror of solitude turned death. Pop culture nods may be rare, but they're growing, especially in fandom and indie circles. Tickles T asked, cryptids that tickle people to death. There's a surprising amount of cryptids that tickle people to death, lolo like the Mahaha. Even today, Mahaha's legend lingers, whispered by elders, shared by firelight, muttered across villages where snow still silences the night. He is a boundary spirit, a phantom between myth and memory. If you hear laughter on the tundra thin and high, beware. It may not be the wind at all. Because while you sit bundled safe, doom-scrolling memes or laughing at harmless jokes, somewhere beyond the tree line, a gaunt silhouette may be listening for your laugh. Keep your socks dry. Camp near running water, and if giggles echo where no friend stands, clamp your lips shut and keep walking. The last joke the snow hears could be yours. Mahaha's story is more than folklore. It's survival dressed in horror, a reminder that even laughter can kill when twisted by the Arctic's merciless hand. So stay curious, but stay cautious. Until the next tale, keep your feet warm and your laughter closer. Because out there, beyond the glow of the fire, something icy is always waiting to tickle you to death.
Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe.